come on, man. And with the local DBC news, LL Cool J with a triumphant comeback. But tonight, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years.
Okay, don't call it a comeback, although I know it's been a long time since I've made a video for you guys. Sorry. So you might be asking yourself, why the video?
It's kind of sassy.
Today we are going to be introducing a new AVID concept that's super important, and I want you to be able to have a reference to go back to if you need to rewatch without sitting through an entire hour-long Zoom recording. So recently we've been reviewing our close reading strategies that help us organize our thinking and navigate a text and interact with the text. In a similar vein, today we're going to add a new AVID skill called focus note-taking. So, what is focus note-taking? We break it down. We know what focus is.
Squirrel!
Well, sort of. And we know what note-taking is. The act of writing down important points from a lesson, lecture, or reading that we have done.
Dear Diary, today I couldn't find my diary, so I'm writing this on both of my Kung Fu Panda 2 DVDs.
So from that, I'm guessing that focus note-taking is like taking notes, but paying attention?
That is not correct.
How does AVID define focus note-taking? Focus note-taking is taking notes with a purpose and structure. The focus note-taking process is more interactive than traditional note-taking, and it's going to help you understand your concept better, think at a higher level, and gain more from the overall experience. There are 5 basic steps to focus note-taking. The first step is taking the notes themselves. Oftentimes, this is the biggest step for some students. When teachers are giving a lesson or doing a lecture, you can watch as some students are sort of astral projecting, looking beyond the walls of the classroom and going somewhere entirely different in their minds.
In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the... Anyone?
The prophecy is true.
They're not listening to the teacher or paying attention to the slides. Not only are they not on the same page as the teacher, they're not even in the same book. So part of this first step is paying attention, listening to the teacher, focusing on what's being said. When it comes to the note-taking itself, it can be a little tricky. Sometimes students write furiously and fast, trying to copy down every single word a teacher says or everything that's written on a slide.
Prepare to be written! I'm doing it! Yeah!
And no matter how fast they write, they fall behind because they are people and not word processing units. So that is one mistake students make, trying to write too much in notes. Another mistake students make is writing too little in notes. They abbreviate and shorthand things a little too much to the point that when they go back to study, they're not exactly sure what it is they have written down.
Charlie keeps a book of dreams and aspirations. They're mostly in pictures and symbols.
Denim chicken. Worm hat?
Worm hat.
So it takes practice to get that perfect level. I'm writing just enough that I understand, but not so much that I'm falling behind with what my teacher's saying. So step 1, take notes. Step 2 is processing your notes. Now, I'm in my the year of teaching, and I can't tell you how many times I have gone over notes with students, and then at the end of the lesson, the students say,
"Do we turn these in?"
And when I say, "No, it's just for your notes," they say,
"Oh.
No, that's not, no. Crumple up your notes." Although we are most concerned with graded assignments, a teacher doesn't ask you to take notes if there isn't a benefit to it. Yes, we care about grades, which is why we take our notes and we keep our notes so we can study them and do well on future assignments and tests. A lot of the close reading strategies we use when we are working with a text that we intend to revisit also work with your notes. You can highlight key terms, underline important info or claims, write in the margins, question the text, organize your ideas, group things together, label things. Interacting with your text, processing, is a key step.
Ms. Kostler, why would I take notes when Google exists?
Okay, it's painful, but it's a valid question. I've told you guys over and over again how much writing out information helps you process and helps you remember it. Taking notes is that first step of ingraining information into your memory. Processing your notes helps lock it in even more. It's kind of like what we said about our planners. If you simply write down your assignments but never look back at it, are you gonna remember?
I don't even remember what I had for breakfast, so shut it up.
Maybe, but probably not. So we write our notes, we go back through them, we interact with them, we label things, we highlight things, we pull out what are those most important pieces. The types of things that we could do in the moment, but it would slow us down and we'd probably get behind and miss out on important info. So I have taken my notes, I have processed my notes. They're looking real good. My next step is connecting my thinking. So this is honestly a little bit of reflection and analysis. I'm gonna look at my notes, at this new information, and see how it connects to my previous knowledge. I'm gonna solidify those connections, but I'm also gonna push my thinking. Are there any gaps in my information that maybe I need to do a little bit more reading or research to understand? What are my points of confusion? And could I use my teacher or my classmates to help clear them up? While taking notes and processing notes happens a lot here on paper or here in your Google Doc, the connecting thinking happens a lot up here. It's an easy step to skip, but it's a super critical one not to miss out on. Remember I told you that all learning is built on previous learning and that your brain is like a Lego structure. With each new little Lego brick of knowledge that we add, we lock it in place on top of a pre-existing brick. We make sure they snap together to hold tight. If we don't take that time to really think about our notes, our bricks maybe are stacked, but they're not really clicked in place, firm and solid. Another step that happens up here is summarizing and reflecting on your learning. If someone asked you, what did you just learn in this lesson? Could you answer them?
No comment. Next question. Any other questions? No comment. Next question.
At this step, you are pulling together all of these big ideas and seeing how this information fits with your learning objective and your focus for your note-taking. The summarizing process could kind of be done internally in your mind, but as we're going to see in a moment here, in the AVID format for taking notes, there is actually a space for you to write out a summary of your notes. This act helps you solidify the information you've learned, connect to the learning objective, and focuses you on the purpose for taking notes. We've taken our notes, we've processed our notes, we've connected our thinking, we've summarized and reflected on our learning, and now it's time to apply it. This is where you're going to use your notes as support as you move into practicing the skill or completing an assessment. When you get to that final step, you'll be grateful that you have done all of this work because you'll be so much better prepared and you have created for yourself a wonderful little instructional guide. Now, AVID uses a specific structure of notes called Cornell Notes. So why do they use Cornell Notes other than it is a major flex?
Cornell. 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 Cornell.
The Cornell Notes method sets you up to go through this entire focused note-taking process naturally. It helps guide you there without you having to think through it and build your own structure for it. So to teach you how the Cornell Notes method works, I'm going to kick it over to a crunchy little instructional video. So while it may not win an Academy Award, it is a very effective explanation of how to take notes using this method.
The Cornell method is a way of taking notes. A professor at Cornell University created this system to help his students keep their notes organized and useful. Here's the technique. On a sheet of lined notepaper, draw a horizontal line above the bottom 6 lines of the paper. Then draw a vertical line from the top margin down to this horizontal line, about 1/3 of the way from the left edge. Put today's date at the top of the sheet. Take down your notes in the large note-taking right column. Your notes should consist of the main ideas of the lecture, video, or textbook you are studying. Keep your notes efficient. Paraphrase longer ideas. No need for complete sentences here. Use phrases that leave out parts of speech such as articles, conjunctions, prepositions, and auxiliaries. Think about how people write Twitter posts or news headlines. Use symbols and abbreviations where possible. Include quick sketches of the material when appropriate. In the left Q column, jot down relevant questions and keywords. Do this during your note-taking or immediately after. Writing questions and prompts helps you clarify meanings, reveal relationships, and establish continuity. This Q column will also assist you with your future reviews of the material. Within 24 hours of taking notes, write a brief summary in the bottom 6 lines of each page. Condensing your notes down to a couple of sentences helps you make the topic more clear in your mind. When you are studying for a test or quiz, you now have a concise yet detailed record of your previous classes. A method of review is to cover the note-taking column and look only at the left-hand column. Say aloud, in your own words, the answers to the questions and prompts indicated. Spend at least 10 minutes every week reviewing all your previous notes. Regular review of your notes between tests helps you better comprehend new lectures. It also enhances your long-term recall of the material. Try it and see for yourself how helpful this method can be.
So using the Cornell Notes method, the taking notes happens in the large right column. So the processing notes step happens in that larger right column, but also in the left column. You will highlight and underline and all that in the right column, but in the left column is where you will sort your information and write in the margins a little bit. As we saw in the video, what's most often encouraged is that you write questions that your notes answer. You can also write just section headings or other information that helps you organize your notes. Connecting thinking still largely happens up here, though you are welcome to jot down your ideas in the margins as you would on any text. But Cornell Notes really help out when it comes to the summarizing and reflecting on learning. At the bottom of each page of Cornell Notes is a space for you to summarize what is the information that you have written down on this page. What exactly is it you learned in these notes? So it's not this kind of theoretical, I'm gonna think about this for a while kind of thing. You actually go ahead and write your summary there on the paper. Like most of the other AVID strategies we've talked about this semester, focused note-taking is kind of a practice makes perfect sort of thing. Don't get frustrated if it takes a while for this to make sense. If you continue on with the AVID program or just want to be a good conscientious student, this note-taking strategy can really support your learning. All right, I'd sign off, but just look over. I'm